Today I have the honour of interviewing Mr. Balendran Thavarajah, also known as Bala, founder and CEO of GetMe, a personal AI coach that teaches users to speak more clearly, directly and effectively. I worked closely with Bala during my time as an accelerating commercialisation facilitator for over 12 months, and I got to know him well. In fact, I consider him a friend. Bala's life journey into the world of tech entrepreneurship has to be heard to be believed. He is an open and honest spirit and genuinely seeks to make the world a better place through his contribution and evidence that nice guys do not come last. Bala is an inspiration to me, and I'm grateful he made himself available for this conversation not once but twice. This is Entrepreneurship with Peter Christo, and here is my conversation with Bala. So welcome, Balendran.
Thank you for having me, Peter. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this.
I'm excited too because we had a take one, and we had a technical fail. That was all on me. But you know, that's entrepreneurship, isn't it?
That's right. You fail, you learn, and you improve, and that's what you've done. You've got a new set of gadgets, and here we are.
Here we are. So look, I'm happy to go free flow on this. I think what would be a good idea is maybe to talk a little bit about your current venture, and then maybe we talk about how you got there. Sort of go backwards a little bit, retrospective, and understand the journey, and maybe just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself as well.
Absolutely, yeah, sure. I think the Get Me venture, the Get Me startup, I think that's how we connected, you and I, almost a year ago.
Yep.
So the Get Me venture is very close to my heart. I've been doing this for a little while, coming here as a refugee migrant and rebuilding my life from nothing. Literally, I couldn't speak English. I didn't know anything about the Australian culture or our way of life. But I had a lot of grit and that desire to rebuild my life. Focusing on the language and communication gotten me here. I'm saying this to you because the Get Me venture is all about helping people improve their English language and communication skills for employment and settlement in Australia and wherever they go. So at the start of 2020, I thought about my life in Australia, having come here and having gone through that struggle of trying to rebuild a typical migrant refugee story. Yep. Come here, looking for help, to rebuild your life for yourself and your future generations. So I thought about my life, and my background is technology. I did a computer science degree after learning to speak English. I managed to get into university.
How old were you when you got here?
25.
Oh, you were 25. So you were well. So had you done any education back in Sri Lanka? Yeah. No
education at all, because my mother took her own life when I was 2 years old. My sister was 5. In the villages, my mum and dad were cousins. Somehow got married. My dad was 22. Mum was 19.
Right.
Very sort of villagey, arranged marriage, cousins getting married.
Not unusual in the culture.
Not unusual. But in this case, they happened to be really young. So what that meant was, by the time Mum got to 23, she had 2 kids.
Yep.
I was 2, and she couldn't take life anymore. Dad invested some money into a trucking business that didn't go anywhere. They lost all the money.
Right.
There was nothing left. Mum had enough. Mm-hmm. She hanged herself.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you went through that.
No, that's it's a long time ago. But the thing is that stopped me from getting any formal education. In the villages, there was a civil war as well, between the Tamil Tigers and the Sri Lankan government. That stopped me from getting any education at all.
Right. So nothing formal until you came to Australia?
No school certificates, nothing.
Wow.
So it was a really big shock when I got here.
So what year was that?
To early 2000, so 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. But I lived in India as a refugee as well. So from Sri Lanka, I crossed the strait by boat with my auntie. And got there as a refugee and lived in the camp for a little while before arriving in Sydney. But the thing was that because I didn't have mom and that environment to study, that also gave me the foundation to fend for myself very early. So
Right.
it gave me the grit.
Why do you think, some people, that's kind of out of necessity, right? I get that. But a lot of people just kind of give up. I mean, do you think there's something inside you special?
Absolutely. I think as my life unfolded, first few years, 2 years old was very small. I don't even have memories of my mom.
Sure.
So by the time I got to sort of 7, 8 years old, I realized my life was different. All the other kids with families.
Yep.
And here I am, I'm looking at myself and going, somehow my life is different. I lived with a lot of regrets. I lived in the victim space for a long time. Why me? Why didn't she take me? What is this? What am I going to do with my life? But then at the age of sort of 12, something happened and the switch got flicked.
Right.
So at that time, I think I came to a fork. I said, I can continue to live as a victim of my circumstances, or I can make the best of what I have, right? And then continue to be positive and rebuild my life instead of just being.
So did somebody get in your ear? Did you talk to an uncle or something, or an older friend who kind of opened your eyes, or was it just your own?
Just realization. I think it happened over a period of time, gradually. In the villages, if you don't have your mother, there's a perception. There's a perception that particularly in my culture, Tamil culture, in Sri Lanka, the older people would call you the son that killed the mother.
Oh, okay.
So it's a cultural thing. You came and you killed your mother, kind of thing, right? So it sounds really awful, but it's an endearing way of saying, hey, this little boy needs care.
It's not a it's not a criticism.
It's not a criticism.
It's shining a light on you so you can be helped.
Yeah, that's right. But then that makes you feel really bad because you go, oh my God! Every time they go, the boy that ate, the boy that ate.
Oh, is that how it's translated?
That's how it translates,
the boy that ate the mother. That is going to be the title of this.
So you start to feel like, oh my God, I'm bad. I'm not good.
Yep.
So that built up, and then I said, no, this is not good. I'm gonna just be positive. I'm gonna do everything I can to help others.
Yep. So you turned it into a mandate for yourself for altruism to help other people.
Absolutely.
Even though you needed help yourself.
Absolutely.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. That's awe-inspiring. But also, I think it's cross-cultural. Like it doesn't matter whether you're in a developed country, a developing country, where you are on the earth. That's a story that anybody must be able to, relate to.
Absolutely, Peter. I think at the end of the day, regardless of what you do or what your journey in life is, it's about helping others.
Right, okay.
Whether it's business or whatever that is.
I guess I have a view on that in terms of I sort of see entrepreneurship and business as alchemy. You taking lead and turning it into gold.
Yeah.
But also a personal journey, which is kind of why I'm doing this podcast. So contrast for me now. So you're this young boy, the pennies dropped, and so how did you? So obviously there was a journey for you before you arrived in Australia, and then there was another journey here from an entrepreneurial point of view. There are a number of ventures. So what happened while you were still in Sri Lanka that shaped you? The character, because generally by the time we're 17, I think our character is pretty well
established. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still growing and evolving, but our character is already set.
So you've seen my son; he's 17.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But I know what I'm getting now.
Because in the villages, you wouldn't believe the way we grew up. There was nothing.
Yeah.
No electricity, no transport, bicycles.
We're in Sri Lanka. Where?
Up north.
Right.
The town is called Jaffna. That's a peninsula. But I grew up further up north in the villages, along the beaches.
Along the beaches.
Along the beaches,
Okay.
yeah. So I grew up on the beach.
So you're a surfie.
Yeah, I mean, literally, my entire generation, in the morning you get up and just jump into the sea.
The water.
Yeah,
It sounds a lot better
water.
than mine. Mine were olive farmers from Greece. All we did was get up and start collecting olives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So because there was nothing to do, there was not a lot in terms of infrastructure. So my entire generation kind of lingered around, not doing much.
Right.
So at the age of 13, as I said, something clicked, and I said, "No, I'm going to do everything I can to do good for others."
Mm-hmm.
That's a turning point for me.
So that was the only thing that you didn't read anything, or
None.
just was there a cultural, like sometimes people have religion, or they have the local priest, the sayings, none of that.
None of that. I'm not a religious person. I'm a Hindu.
Yeah.
My mum and dad were Hindus. I'm a Hindu, but I'm not a religious person. But that change in attitude got me here.
Right.
That change in attitude. I'm going to just try my best.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what I've got as an upbringing. Mother's gone.
Yeah.
Growing up with aunties and uncles, and dad wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
So literally gone from aunties to uncles.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, that gave me the resilience. Right?
Yeah.
Very early on, I built the grit. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to just do everything I can to be the best person.
So when were you doing? So when were you doing the working with your auntie? You were telling me the other day. Tell me about that again.
So the business world, when I look at how businesses run in a developed country like Australia, I go back to my little venture with my auntie.
Right.
So my mother's sister is very entrepreneurial. There wasn't a lot. We ate once a day.
Oh, really?
Once a day. That's a big meal once a day. That's all you had. And then that's not going to be there if you can't go and farm or fish.
Right.
It's really, that kind of poor. So my auntie would make the sesame ball sweet.
Oh, it's a sweet, is it?
Yeah, sweet sesame balls. And then...
So what's the recipe? Have you got that? Can you reveal that now?
It's sesame seeds.
Yep.
Roasted sesame seeds, and then you have.
Oh, you had fire at least.
Yeah, sugar. So the thing is that there were little cafes along the streets, petty shops.
Yep.
And then she said, let's see if people will buy our sweet. Right. So she made this sweet, and she said to me, I would have been 11, 12. So you're going to be my marketer. You're going to go and distribute it to the shops.
So this was about the same time as the penny drop for you?
Yeah. So she would go, take these to the shops, ride on your bike, take the samples, give some to all of the cafes. Right. So your job is to go and market and sell this. So I would take it and have a chat with the cafe owner and go, here, I've got something for you. I'm going to leave a few here. You don't have to pay for it. I want you to give me feedback. So you give it to your customers. What I want in return is feedback on how it's tasting. Is it something?
So where did that come from? Like, how did a 12, 13-year-old boy have enough insight and wherewithal to because that's on consignment, right? But you're getting market feedback.
Yeah.
And you're placing your product in front of the customer who's going to buy it as an impulse buy. And so from a technical business point of view, that you would learn at school, right? You've just done that naturally.
Yes.
Did the auntie suggest it?
No, my auntie would say, go and give this to the cafe owners and ask for feedback.
Oh, okay. So she gave you the... She gave
me the instruction. Yeah. But then, businesses work the same way. It doesn't really matter whether you're selling, sweets for 10 cents or... closing a $1 million deal. Yep. It's all about value. What value you're creating for your customers. So in our case, if the sweet wasn't good, then you really have no way.
Change the
but
recipe.
if you change the recipe and repeat the process.
That's right.
So I would leave the sweet on a Monday morning, and then I'll go back midweek to see who's got feedback.
Yep.
But it turned out that a lot of them liked the flavor, the texture, And that got me on that business. So then every week, I'm really packing up sweets to distribute.
Right, so you had a job now. Like you had a marketing and sales job.
I had a job. So my job was to go and distribute this sweet and then collect money at the end of the week,
Right.
and then work with my auntie to go and source supplies as
The
well
ingredients.
to ingredients to make more.
Wow.
So that got me thinking about how businesses worked. I still go back to it.
It's extraordinary education. I mean, because
Practical.
I don't care who you are. It's my personal view. I don't care who you are or what you're involved. If you can't sell, if you don't understand how people buy, also how you price something, like you would have worked out what should the price be, regardless of what the costs were. What's the price going to be, and can we make a margin, make a profit out of that? Is it enough for us to
Margin that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
Economic sense.
Yeah, economic sense. So, but also it's coming naturally to you. That information you probably weren't even conscious of. You're thinking, well, I'm selling it for more than we're making it for. So
Then there's something.
there must be
that's
something
business.
there.
That's
That's
business.
right. What a great, I guess, foundation education for a young man.
I still go back to it, Peter. I mean, every time, now we're doing digital businesses.
Yeah.
If there's a problem with the software, it's the same thing. Your sweet wasn't good. The recipe got mucked up or whatever.
Yeah.
One batch got spoiled.
Yep.
And how do you fix it? It's the
Yep.
same thing.
Oh, absolutely. The wonderful thing about technology is the marginal cost to make a second account and a third account is nearly zero.
Zero. That's right.
That's right. Okay, so did you do that until you left, or did you move on to other stuff?
No, that's something that we did. And then the Civil War was pretty harsh. So we were running around from village to village, and we got really shelled and bombed all the time. So
Right.
it's pretty hard for anyone to.
Which is a sharp contrast from the relaxed character that I've gotten to know. I think I'm a little bit more nervous, Nelly, than you are.
Australia has changed. It's a completely different lifestyle. At least you can sleep in peace here. You know that you're going to be alive tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's no one dropping bombs on you. So that's,
Yeah, well, maybe. It depends on which part of Melbourne you live in.
Yeah, so that's good. That's given me the foundation for business.
Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you make your way over to India with your aunt. Presume you went through the UN.
No,
program?
we crossed by boat.
But when you applied for refugee status and you got that, and then you came over to Australia.
Yeah, that's right. So I was there for a year and a half. My auntie went back to Sri Lanka, and I ended up in Australia.
Okay.
But that journey itself, when I went to India, that was a major turning point. South India, there's a lot of people, 80 million Tamils in South India.
Oh, okay.
They speak the same language as the Sri Lankan Tamils.
Right.
But infrastructure was there. The buses were running, the trains were running, the electricity was there, the computers started to appear. So I'm looking at, even though I'm in a refugee camp, when I walk out to do the shopping, I'm seeing these things.
Yep.
And I'm going, wow, this is a different world, compared to how I grew up in my villages. This is fantastic. Also, I've started building ideas. Oh my God, what do I want to do the rest of my life?
Yep.
So I'm seeing typewriters, I'm seeing Windows computers,
Right.
Microsoft computers, and I'm going, there's something happening here.
So that would have been late 90s?
2000.
Oh, that was 2000 you came?
No, 2000.
Oh, that was 2000
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right.
So that opened me up to a different world. But then also coming to Australia is another leap, a big leap, because
So you landed at Sydney Airport, walked off a plane and looked around and went,
yeah, this is it. I'm going to make it happen here.
Yeah.
But I realized I didn't have the English skills or communication skills.
Did you speak English at all?
No, none at all. So that's where I realized if I can learn to speak the language of the land, if I can learn to communicate and connect with people, I can rebuild my life here.
Yep.
If I can't do it here, I'm not going to be able to do it anywhere else because the opportunities, the infrastructure is there. Australia is a wealthy country.
Yeah.
The infrastructure is there. So then,
sorry to interrupt you. And yet, people who are born here, young people who are born here, have every opportunity in the world to do pretty well whatever they want see only limitations. You saw opportunities.
That's a double-edged sword there, right? Because people who are growing up here, they see this as
they saw
reality.
the problems.
They haven't had the life we've had, right? As refugees and migrants, and growing up with nothing in the villages. That's why until you travel outside, you're living in the bubble, going on. The Medicare system isn't good, or not getting enough opportunities. But until you see the other side, you really don't have a reference point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit. So you got on a bit of a pathway program and did some education here, started to develop your English skills, and then ended up at uni on doing a degree in computer science.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because I said, okay, I want to learn English now, because without English I can't do anything. Because I badly wanted to rebuild my life. So I said, I'm going to go and give it everything I have and see if I can get into uni and get a degree and go on to do bigger things instead of just going to do a tradie job. Some people said to me, I'll go and work as a security guard, start making money. And I said, no, this is my second chance in life. I'm going to make the most of it. So I joined AIMS Australia's conversational English classes.
Okay.
3 nights a week, 7 p.m. I would rock up and sit down and learn to speak basic English. Hello, how are you? Or how do I order a coffee? How do I buy a train? Basic English, right? But then I worked 18 hours a day. 18 hours a day for 6 months, incorporating new words into my vocabulary, trying to practice, watching TV and listening to radio, and after 6 months I had enough to go. I'm going to go and ask universities if they would allow me in. So all of the universities in New South Wales, from Newcastle to New South Wales University, they all said to me, we can see the desperation in you, but it's going to be a massive struggle. There's no way you're going to get through a uni degree, and we don't have a process to let you in.
Right. Okay. So this wasn't something that the government had a pathway for you. You went looking for this yourself.
I went. My cousin was interpreting for me.
Right.
In some cases, you would do everything possible to, get through the degree, and they go, no, we can't. We don't have a program like that. You need at least a school certificate, some kind of certificate. I didn't have anything. But Western Sydney Uni had a program called Alternative Pathways.
Right.
For disadvantaged adults like myself.
Right.
So the idea is that you go and do 2 subjects from a degree. In my case, I wanted to do computer science. So I would do 2 subjects, and then if I did well, then I'm good to go and complete the degree.
I just had a little bit of a vision here, Bella. The Balendran wing down at which university was it?
Western Sydney.
Western Sydney University. So, as Get Me and the AIMS thing grows, you probably go there with a nice big check for them one day and say thank you.
Absolutely. No, I do guest talks and, try to inspire.
But I mean, kudos to Western Sydney University for having, I guess, the courage to do something a little bit different. I mean, that's got to be acknowledged.
Absolutely. And then the lady at the reception said to me, this is going to be an extremely difficult challenge for you. You're not going to understand the lecture content. You're not going to be able to finish your homework. But then she said to me, I see something in you. She didn't do that as a job. She said to me, I can see the desperation. I'm going to let you go. And that's it.
Yeah. Game on.
2.5 years later, I took the piece of paper that said Balendran completed computer science, Bachelor of Computer Science, with distinction average.
Distinction average, well done.
And I took the piece of paper, and then she was still there. We had a hug and a cry. That was really emotional, because I said to her, because of you, I'm going to go and do some things that will make you proud, because you gave me a platform.
Right.
You didn't see that as your job. Cheers. You saw something in me and let me in. We had a hug and a cry. I still have a contact number. The one person that saw something in me and said, hey,
So she was an administrator,
yeah.
of the program.
Yeah, admission officer.
Yeah.
So
And what was her name? Let's acknowledge her.
Sandy, yeah.
Sandy, if you listen to this, hat tip. Very inspirational moment there. Well done for helping this young man.
Yeah, I think I've got everything today, what I've done so far. I have to give it all back to that moment.
Yeah, but it didn't come to you. You went looking for it, right?
Absolutely.
So you went to all the universities. They all said no until one said yes, and you rolled the dice.
Yeah. So when you think about...
Whereas you could have been the security guard type scenario.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Nobody would have accused you of doing anything. You know, you would have said, "Okay, I'll be a security guard, and maybe my child one day will be something better, and then something better."
Yeah.
But you ran with the ball.
Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with being a security guard. But I thought I could do so much more if I had a degree and if I had a platform.
Full disclosure, I worked as a security guard after I came out of the army.
That got me on this journey, Peter. So finished my degree, and I said, I'm not going to work for anybody. I'm going to build a company.
Yep.
Freshly out of uni.
Right.
I saw this opportunity where all of the small supermarkets, these ethnic supermarkets, I'm talking about Southeast Asian and Middle Eastern, they were doing accounting and bookkeeping still
On the ledger.
paper. Yeah. So they would rent movies. Back then they had the DVD rentals and VHS rentals and things like that as well. So it was taking them so long to find the details and work out which part of the series Peter would watch next. That would take 10-15 minutes. Go through the pages.
Yep.
And then I'm going to the stores, I'm looking at them, they're wasting a lot of time.
Right.
I can build a software that would just automate the whole thing.
Yep.
Then I'm looking at Woolworths and Coles. They're paying IBM $50,000 to have that, point of sale system installed. But these small supermarkets didn't have the budget, didn't have the money.
50 grand, no way.
So I said, I'll build something. So I stayed home for 3 months, built the software from ground up, every line of code. It would work with the scanner, it would work with the barcode printer and the receipt printer. And
so that allowed them to do what? That allowed them to receive products, scan them, and put them on their system.
That's right, the entire inventory.
Right.
And then it would also tell them when you come in to hire a movie, it would tell them which ones you've seen.
Right, okay.
On the screen.
Right.
So scan your card, and then it would go, Peter has seen series this, and he's at episode this. Boom.
So let me get this straight. So you built it, and then you went knocking on doors to sell it.
Absolutely, because I knew the problem
So
was
that
big
12-year-old
enough.
kid is still there selling the little sweet balls.
But now it's point of sale system.
That's
but
right.
the process was the same.
Yeah, same thing.
But I realized the problem was so big.
Yep.
As soon as they see it, they're gonna just jump on it.
Right.
So I'm walking into some of the supermarkets I would go and buy things from.
Yep.
The owners you can see the light bulbs going, right? The eyes widening. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, so how much is it? That was the next question.
Okay.
I didn't have a clue.
Right.
I said $6,000.
Yeah. You just picked a number.
Yeah, $6,000. I'll get you the hardware. I'll put all of your
So what hardware was it? PC was it?
barcodes.
Oh, it was a barcode
Scanner and the small PC. So $6,000. I'll come and install and set it up for you. They go, do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow, right? So I'll go in there, set it up, get paid. They are happy, up and running. I sold to 20 supermarkets in 6 months.
Right.
20 supermarkets at $6,000 a pop.
Right.
Never been happier. I'm like going, my God, this is so good. I've built something and I can build a business out of it.
Yeah.
But the problem was that I didn't have any contracts, didn't know how to actually build a viable company.
So that's what I say. If you're doing engineering or computer science, do a couple of modules in business.
There was absolutely, Peter. There was no support agreement. There was no contract.
No.
The problem, 20 customers.
Yep.
Then I'm starting to get these phone calls.
Yep.
At odd hours.
Right.
9:30
tech
p.m.
support.
Yeah, 9:30 p.m. I'm just getting ready for bed or whatever, having my dinner. the guy would go, I got to open the shop tomorrow. The barcode printer isn't working. Or the database is overgrown. It needs formatting and that kind of thing.
What were you using? MySQL or something?
Access.
Access. Oh, you're using Access.
Access database, and then the software would connect to it. It had limitations, and then I would go, man, I'm about to go to bed. And they go, no, I got to open the shop tomorrow. So you got to come and fix it. And then he would give me $50 for the hour.
Right.
Like there was no agreement. So he would go, got to give you something, $50. And then after a year, I gave that business to another computer hardware business and learned my lessons. The most important lesson was that building a product is the beginning.
That's right.
Is the beginning, right? So all of the different pieces around how to structure the contract, how to work out the different numbers, forecasting, and so much bigger than the product itself.
So yeah, exactly right. So there's you produce this widget, you produce the product, you were handling the sales and the marketing. Then you had the tech support, which could have been incorporated in your agreement with them.
Yeah.
But doing an agreement, I mean, that costs money.
And then it would slow the process down. Yeah. But then in this case, it was all handshake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I give them the receipt and then they pay. And there was no legal agreement or anything like that. They would have taken me to court if something,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But ironically, it could have also prevented you from doing the deal.
Yeah.
If you put a big, long 5-pager in front of them, they say, I don't even know what this is. Yeah. Whereas a handshake, because they were reliant on you and you were reliant on them. So I think then slowly you possibly could have brought in an agreement, but, how can you know at that time?
Yeah, lessons learned, Peter. So for the young entrepreneurs, product is the beginning. Product sort of work because that's the glue that connects everything and, helps you grow your business. But all of the different pieces, operations, business management, marketing, sales, finances, support, the legal side of things, there is important. So then I gave that business and got a little bit of money from that business and then put all of that money plus some money from the bank into another venture that was going to be the Gumtree. Now you have Gumtree. eBay was big back then. Then I wanted to build a local marketplace.
Right.
People could advertise, their products and then that would evolve into a marketplace, and then people can pay to advertise.
Right.
So it's free for buyers and sellers.
So eBay was there, and Gumtree was out there already?
No. Gumtree wasn't there. So we were going to build that.
Right.
But then we outsourced the project to some engineers in Ukraine, and the product didn't work.
Right.
So $400,000 to get to that point, but we needed another $300,000 to salvage it. But then I didn't have the confidence, so we pulled the plug on it.
Right.
Big lesson from that was, if you're outsourcing your product development, you got to be a techie, or you got to have a co-founder who's technical. Otherwise, what happened was I was technical, but then there was a remote team. We didn't have a proper project management structure in place. So when they delivered the software, it was laggy, wouldn't scale. No way. UX wasn't good. So lost all the money and then went to work for...
So was that all the money that you made from the first business?
From the other business.
Right.
And
so you're
and
back to square one again.
But
you had some experience.
The experience got me here, but very expensive mistakes. Then I said, now I've got to go and work for some companies. Learn to run a company properly. Learn how businesses worked. How these big businesses work. So I found a job in Canberra to work for Centrelink.
Right.
2,000 people team. Working as a software developer. And then I worked for Optus for a little while, TPG for a little while, telecommunication company.
Yep.
And then Standards Australia. And then I partnered with Phil and Emil to come to Melbourne to build this Blue Dot business.
Right.
That's now grown to multi-million-dollar valuation. And we built that company over 10 years. It's a company called Blue Dot Innovation, location technology that powers drive-through for fast food chains like McDonald's.
Oh, I see.
So if you're running the McDonald's app on your phone, you place an order, you drive into the drive-through. Our technology would tell the kitchen that Peter's there. He's ordered a Big Mac, large meal. And your order gets, put together, and then you tap to pay and drive off.
Right.
That's possible because of our technology, and then we on the toll roads as well. So Transurban,
They use it too.
Yeah, Transurban runs an app called Link to Go.
Oh, okay.
The idea is that you don't have to have an e-tag. If you're a casual traveler, you don't need to invest in e-tag. You just download the app, take a photo of the number plate, and pay as you go.
Right.
It's a convenient way to, pay for your toll.
Yep.
And then Transurban invested a few $1 million, and they're part owners of the company. And that's
So is that linked now?
Link to Go. Link to Go, it's called.
Oh, it's called Link to Go.
Link to
I
Go.
think I'm a user.
Yeah, Link to Go is fantastic. Because before that, if you're traveling to Melbourne from Geelong once a month, you still need an e-tag.
Yeah. And they
Or pay admin
they cost
fee.
$50 or $100 or whatever it was to
And
buy.
then-
I think I've got 3 of them. Well, I've got 1 on my car and 2 floating around here, useless.
And then you have to put in minimum credit,
Yeah,
$50 or whatever.
Yeah.
So these people who travel casually, they're going, why? And then if you don't have an e-tag, then you have to pay admin fee on top of the toll fee. So as soon as we launched Link to Go, people had an easy way to pay for their toll, it's on their phone.
Yep.
We're generating a lot of revenue through that
Right.
from people who would never travel on toll roads because of the barriers. Barriers.
Yeah.
So that company is continuing to grow, but at the start of 2020,
So it was a 2-person partnership.
no,
you started.
three
There was
three of us, yeah. So that's continuing to grow. At the start of 2020, I had some family issues. My dad was a bit sick, so I took a break. At that point, I've been doing Blue Dot business for 7 years. I needed a break, so I took 3 months off, and then COVID came to Australia. So it was a big wake-up call for a lot of people. So I'm sitting in my apartment thinking, okay, 3 months is finished. Now I've got to decide whether I want to continue to be on the Blue Dot journey or do something else.
Yep. How big was Blue Dot by then?
By then, as of our last round, the company is we've raised $25 million, and it's
So how many people did that constitute?
About 50 people.
50 people. So you started 3 people, and now you were 50, and it was kind of getting. So would it be fair to say that you were starting to lose interest in such a big company?
It's grown. It's grown, and it's
I mean, that's not a massive business.
global, bigger brands, McDonald's, Transurban, Dunkin' Donuts. We're big in the US as well. So I was thinking, is this something that I want to do?
Yeah.
Continue to do, or is there a bigger calling for me? That's when I realized, having come here and rebuilt my life, a lot of people come to this country like me. They're in the same kind of situation.
Yep.
They all need help. So why don't I build something to help people like myself? That's where the get me idea came from.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, so I've done some things with technology. I've built some businesses. I've got a lot of experience. Why don't I use that to give back to the community and the country has given me so much. So that's where the idea for Get Me.
How long did
originated.
it? Well, 2 questions. How long did the prototype take to get built, and did you have to quickly learn the AI component, or were you across AI before?
I was across AI for a long time. I knew, AI has gone through different phases. It started in the 70s and then died down, and so 2010, I think that's when I realized AI was going to be a thing, because the data sets are starting to grow, because we were starting to generate a lot more data as a collective, because to train this AI, you need enormous amounts of data.
For sure.
And then the computing capacity and the processing power was starting to come together as well. So that's when I realized AI was going to be a thing. And then we looked at AI for Blue Dot business as well. So we did some things with AI. So I had a good understanding of AI, but didn't know how the Get Me product was going to evolve because we were looking at speech patterns and conversation processing and natural language. I haven't worked on those before. So I'm sitting in my apartment going, okay, I've got to build this product. The idea was to have a conversation processed by the AI. So you could make a phone call. I could call you through the app and have a conversation, a short conversation. The AI would recognize my energy level, my vocabulary strength, the type of words I'm using, how fast I'm speaking, and pinpoint pronunciation errors. So if I had sound issues with certain sounds, it would reliably pinpoint.
Okay, and I apologise to listeners who aren't techie, but I really need. Where did you get all the data from? Like you need a massive amount of data on both sides.
Really good question. So I'm going, okay, so I don't have access to data. We don't own data. So I went to all of the publicly available data sets. The universities in the US had public data sets. So that ranged from actors talking, but then that wasn't enough for us to build a reliable machine learning model. So I came up with an idea to download YouTube.
I was going to say
audio,
that would be
YouTube audio.
Right.
So we built a script that would download the video, separate the audio out.
Yeah.
So that gave us a diverse range of voices and all kinds of different, people as well.
Okay.
So that's what we used to build this engine.
Yeah.
So I'll speak into the app, and then it will go, okay, so this is how that word ideally sounds or pronounced, but yours is this. Therefore, you have issues here and here.
Right, so the issues would be how you inflect your voice?
Yeah, sound. Sound. So, for example, I have issues with R sound or A sound.
Which one? A. A's in for apple. Yeah, you do have problems with that.
A sound and R sound. I'm still working on it because I speak Tamil at home. That influences.
And doesn't Tamil have the R or the roll?
Different.
It's different.
Right. Yeah. So
well, the Americans, I'm Peter in the States and I'm Peter.
Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, if I said reverse.
Yep.
The R isn't good. Yep. So the AI would say, yeah, you got to work on that ra sound.
Yeah.
That is enormously valuable for migrants and refugees with English as a second language.
Yep.
So that came, that came as a bit of a light bulb moment. Okay, so I'm going, so I'm a migrant. I have these issues. I've been here for now 20 plus years. Think about all the new arrivals. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely.
And I'm going, this is going to be...
I just remembered something funny about that. And it genuinely is funny. So I became very close friends when I was doing my undergrad with a Korean guy because we'd both been in the army. And so that was the only thing that bound us. But because he had a very strong accent, I was feeder.
Feeder?
Feeder, not Peter, feeder. So if he said... Peter, can I meet you down the car park? You can imagine.
Depending on what you speak as your mother tongue, you would have different effects.
Sure.
When you speak English, Vietnamese, they have different sets of issues. So for Tamil speakers, it's normally the W sound, or the R sound.
Okay. Do you have W?
Not the way. V is there, not W.
Oh, V is there.
So I would say instead of welcome, I would say welcome.
Right. So that's an Indian thing as well, isn't it? I think so.
That part of the world.
That part of the world. Yeah, and in fact, I have family who are Persian, and my now ex-brother-in-law, he would say V. He wouldn't say.
Yeah. So immediately I'm going, that's a problem because you have all the technical skills. But you can't really find the job that meets your profile because you can't promote your skills and experience through communication. So
how did you discover? So because obviously I was kind of went into the weeds with this with you when we were doing the AC program. How did you discover? And when you mentioned it to me, I knew it was true the minute you mentioned it to me that having a better command of English, while still maintaining your accent, but being able to pronounce the language better, would allow you to forge relationships in the workplace, which would allow you to, build merit and build respect within that, rather than being isolated as some quirky character in the corner no one understood but seemed to do a good job. Yeah. How did you make that leap? Like, where did that come from? I mean, clearly it's true, but how did you discover that? Because I think that was probably a seminal moment.
Lived experiences.
Right.
So my managers didn't have the same kind of technical skills I had when I was working for companies, but they had a good command of the language and how they connected with others. That allowed them to bring people together and deliver projects.
Sure.
But here I am sitting down and doing all the technical work, getting paid half of what they're getting paid.
Right. And not get invited to drinks afterwards.
That's right. Not getting any indications of promotions or anything like that. I'm going, what's happening here? But
also part of the family of the company where they would go out, I presume, or they would go to lunches.
Absolutely. You're missing out on a lot of that because you can't communicate or you lack confidence. That then said something to me, okay, when I'm talking to people, I have a lot of interesting things to say. But then that's disrupted by my pronunciation issues.
Right.
So I'm talking to them, I'm excited, I'm telling them a story, I'm giving them the idea. Suddenly they will go, sorry, what was that?
Right.
And then you get shattered, oh my God.
Right.
Then you just gradually you give up because you lose your confidence.
Oh, absolutely. You want to feel, particularly if you're coming up with ideas, that you're taking a risk because you're going to come up with an idea that people think is stupid.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to do it safely, and I guess safely means having a relationship with people who they're forgiving because they already know you and they like you and they value your input.
Yeah.
And so if you say something silly, they'll say, "Oh, well, you're a banana. That was silly. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Who knows? Time will tell." Right.
So then I realized if you can actually pinpoint where the communication issues are, that would allow us to then coach them through personalization. Instead of saying, Peter, you got sound issues here, or your vocabulary strength is this, that's just information. That's insight. So you probably already know that.
Yep.
Then how do we put together a program that allows you to go and target those areas and quickly get better? So that's where the power of the Get Me product is. So the more you use the app, whether it's phone calls or you're practicing reading or pronouncing words, the machine learning and AI in the background are looking for patterns.
Yeah.
So what are consistent patterns you have in your communication, whether sound issues or energy issues, that allows the app to personalize the coaching.
So, I mean, that truly was a novel application. You really were trying to do a bit of a breakthrough in terms of the conceptualization, because you've identified a problem and you were using technology, but you were also, I guess, coming up with hypotheses in your mind on how that might look when you did that. So there must have been a number of iterations that weren't working.
First 2 years, simply building and prototyping and throwing away.
Right.
So what that allowed us to do was to really prove some hypotheses, right? So we go, okay, we expect this model to produce this output at this level of accuracy, run it for a week, 2 weeks, and then we go, no, it's not going to work.
Did you have external advice on that from subject matter experts? Or?
Yeah, we had a researcher, and I had enough command of the technical side, and then we had some consultants as well.
Right, and it was just you coding?
The MVP was me, but then I raised $600,000 because I showed it to some investors, the prototype, and they were excited.
So let's move into the investors. So now you're new to the country. Well, not so new now, but still pretty new. And now you've gone knocking on doors to how did you frame that up for yourself? How did you facilitate that to go and actually make presentations? Because it's not only what you say, it's what you show them in a pitch deck, and then the economics hanging together for them.
Absolutely. So the first two businesses, we didn't have to raise. I didn't need money because they were small.
Yep.
Comparatively small.
Yep.
For Blue Dot business, over the 7 years, we raised $25 million through various rounds of funding.
So you had relationships.
Yeah, so I had some relationships, but most importantly, I learned to pitch.
Right.
Learned to pitch the idea, learned to communicate the value prop and the economics.
So you reached out to them with a deck, or did they know you and gave you some time?
So for the Get Me business, the first investment came from people that weren't part of the Blue Dot business.
Just network, friends, family.
Network. So I kind of knew who would be interested in an education technology product like Get Me. So I reached out to them going, hey, I've got an MVP that's starting to look very promising. We can commercialize it.
Right.
And then I wrote an email saying, these are the different parts of the world. By then I had a little bit of market research done around the sizing of the market, in different parts of the world. So I sent a summary email going, hey, you got to have a look at it.
Yep.
So the first pitch wasn't even a pitch deck, just a demo.
Right.
So I said, yeah, this is what I built.
Oh, you just showed them that it goes bing.
Yeah. So it tells me I'm talking to the app, and then it tells me where the issues are.
Right.
Now, if you think about how that's going to be the base of this product that can personalize the coaching, they're like, yeah.
Right. Because really the coaching is the car, but you built the internal combustion engine.
That's right. So they're going, okay, let's make it happen and let's talk terms. Then I put together the presentation and the term sheets and shareholders agreement.
You put the term sheets together. They put the term sheets together.
My lawyers.
Oh, your lawyers. Okay. Because obviously you'd been through Blue Dot and it wasn't you weren't like a bunny rabbit in the headlights.
No, that's right. So I had a fair bit of experience as well. So as first is angel investors, right?
Right. So were they good to deal with?
Yeah, they were good. They're business owners.
Did you? I'm trying to put this politely. Did they try it on? In other words, did they try and take more than you? Did they try and negotiate terms that weren't that fair?
For the angel investors, I said, we've got this valued. So I had an external valuer.
Okay.
Sort of, valuation done for the business. I said, the valuation has come back because $7 to $11 million.
Right.
Potential valuation.
Right.
But then the first round was like, we'll invest at $7 million.
Right.
It's the lowest.
Okay.
Right? So I said, that's fine. I mean, this is just a number at this stage.
Right.
I need the funds to...
So that was a pre-money valuation?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we raised $600,000. That allowed me to put together a team and, get on that real production. Yeah, what does Get Me product look like? And
So money is time. So how much time did that buy you? That's cash burn, right?
At that stage, I think that $600,000 gave me about 10 months.
Right.
10 months to build some machine learning models and prototype the actual product.
And they wanted what by the end of that? First customer? No.
No.
They just wanted
just an MVP.
Just the MVP.
MVP.
Okay.
Then once the MVP was starting to come together, I used that to go and tell others, this is happening. Now come on board and invest more.
Right.
Then I raised another $400,000 from various angel groups. And then before we launched the MVP, I got onto Virtual crowdfunding platform.
All right. Yep.
That's interesting as well because the product wasn't out. There was no customers yet. But I said, let's go and tell all of the Australians what we're building. My team said to me, this is suicidal. People won't understand what AI. You're pitching to mum and dad investors.
Right.
They will struggle to understand AI. And add to that how AI can improve English language.
Right. Yeah, that's another leap again.
Yeah, for the speakers of the language as their second language. I said, don't worry about all of that. AI is technology. I'm going to go and tell people our story, what we're building and the potential. We put together a campaign video and I said, I'm so-and-so, this is what I'm building, this is my story, this is where we can go with this.
Right.
I didn't so we were about to launch a campaign that night at 10 o'clock. We launched a campaign and then I didn't sleep that night because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to connect, to people going to see this as something they would invest in. Got up at 5 o'clock, had an hour or two of sleep, and 5 o'clock I opened the campaign page. There's about 220 people who said they would invest in it. They resonated with the idea. They could, this is something my parents would have used.
I did that too when we were doing the evaluation.
Did you? No, that's interesting.
Did I tell you that story?
And I think you mentioned.
So my dad had just arrived on the boat from Greece. Mum had been here for a couple of years. She took him by the hand, and took him door to door to find a job. And all he knew was job for me, job for me, job for me. And so he got to a particular place, and the lady at the counter said, how can I help you? He said, job for me. And she said, can you typewrite? Can you typewrite? My dad was a tinsmith from the village in Greece.
Yeah.
He didn't. Not only didn't he speak English,
Can you typewrite?
And he said yes. And she said, "Wait here." So she's gone inside, and he said to my mum, "Well, what did she say?" He said, "She asked if you can typewrite." And he said, "Let's go."
So you didn't even understand what was being said.
No, clearly.
Yeah,
clueless, poor thing. But you can imagine how kind of overwhelming.
It's a big struggle, isn't it? So the story is that then I said, guys, look, all of these people think that we've got something here.
But immediately it resonates with anybody who's ever, seen it, even that's seen that rather than just experienced it, but seen it as part of their story. Immediately you realise if you can get help here, there's going to be value.
Yep. If you can meaningfully assist them improve their language skills, that equates to better jobs. So finding their first job or whatever that is. So that gave me the belief as well. Done this 3 times, but then every product is different. Every startup is different.
Sure.
So with the Get Me product and then the vision, that crowdfunding round and those number of investors coming on board, a lot of them were mum and dad, migrant investors. If you look at the names, 90% were migrants.
Right.
So I'm going, guys, this is connecting with people. We just have to do this and deliver the MVP and get some validation and off we go.
Right.
So we ended up raising in total about $450,000.
Right. So now you've raised nearly 1.5 million total.
Yeah, that's right. And then I worked with you to get the government grant as well. So we've raised now close to $2.2 million.
Yep.
And then now the revenue is starting to come in and starting to look serious. I'm in the middle of closing another $1 million in funding. I'm working to venture capital funds to do the due diligence.
And do you think that you will then, you reckon you can start to get to the point where you don't need 2 more investors?
Correct. So the next big milestone for us is 300K in annually recurring revenue. That's going to happen.
ARR.
Yeah, ARR. So that's going to happen at the end of financial year, next financial year. And then at the end of next year, calendar year, we will be profitable.
Right.
Yeah, that's a goal. So that's why I'm raising $1 million now to get to the milestone. And then after that, depending on how fast we want to grow, we'll raise more money or continue to explore other ways to grow the business.
Right. So is the plan to be at the helm of it as CEO for the foreseeable future, or do you imagine a point for yourself where you will take a step back and let people who wear ties?
No, the Get Me business is close to my heart, Peter, because of my personal connection and my story and what I'm trying to do to help others. So I think I'll be running the company for a little while until it's big enough or until I don't have the passion anymore. But I'm pumped. At this stage.
Well, I've got to mention, you're probably the most humble and down-to-earth successful entrepreneur I've ever met. I've met people with egos where they haven't done a tenth of what you've done.
Thanks, Peter. I think that comes from the upbringing I've had,
Yeah, you've seen
you appreciate. And then you also know all of this can disappear in a second.
That's right. And you're still you, regardless. That's right. So So why don't we sort of wind this off by maybe me asking you what would be the 2, 3, 4 things that you would advise, particularly new Australians, new to the country who are starting off or thinking about starting off a venture. What would you say to them as somebody on the other side of it?
Really good at. I think I've got a couple of things around language and communication that I'm passionate about. Take control of your communication skills. At the end of the day, that's going to be there with you, regardless of what venture you do or where you go. When you come to a country like Australia, the expectation is that you're going to rebuild your life. You're going to, provide better opportunities for your future generations, but you got to be a contributing citizen. At the end of the day, you got to contribute to the economy. So if you, whether you're looking to build a venture or whether you want to go and work for someone else, focus on communication skills, language skills, because it's not about accent or how you speak, it's about clarity. If you have good command of the language and you speak clearly, you speak with confidence, that would carry a lot of weight compared to even technical skills. So that's the first thing that helped me. 20 years, if someone asked me what got you here, it's the language and communication. Just the ability to relate to others and communicate and connect with others. And the other thing, one of my early mentors told me, we went to a networking event. This is, in Sydney. I'm going to a networking event that went for 2 hours. So my mentor and I went there. He said, let's go network. At the end of the 2-hour networking, we came out and he asked me, how many business cards did you get? How many people did you connect with? I said I spoke to some people and didn't actually. I said I connected with one person on LinkedIn. He goes, you have now wasted 2 hours of your life. You will never get back. So if you're there to network, you got to network. You got to go and talk to people and connect. And if you haven't got 3 meaningful contacts, you wasted your time. So that resonated with me. I still think about it. So it's about building your network. Talking to people and telling your story and connecting with people, because you don't know how that's going to help you in the future. You don't have to go and use people. No. You're just sharing ideas and connecting with people and bringing contact. So network.
Sure, and that means listening as well as talking.
Listening and talking and connecting with people. Because now a lot of our investors were part of my network.
Of course.
Part of my network, right? So when I started the Get Me business, I'm going, hey guys, this is what's happening. Do you think you want to be part of it?
Yeah.
So they'll come back to.
So you now are a known entity to them. Like you go to them, they know that you have credibility and
so got a few runs on the board, so it's easier. But if you're starting out, then it's still the same process. You're reaching out to your network.
So obviously your language skills, work on your language, network, which is you're working on your language as well at the same time.
Yeah, networking and your communication skills.
Right.
They're much more valuable than anything else.
Sure.
Degree papers and technical skills. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. Anyone can go and do it.
Yeah.
The communication skills, they take effort. You have to be intentional about it. You have to practice.
I hear you. I'm doing Italian at the moment. it's brutal.
So you got to do it. And the other thing, Peter, is that character.
Right.
So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be authentic. Because you're asking people to invest in your company. If you're not authentic, that will come through. You can fake for a little while, but you just got to be yourself.
I think that's absolutely right. That's absolutely true.
And then keeping your promises, keeping your word, they're important. Character is much more important than anything else. And then if you stuff up once, you learn and you improve. But if you mistreat people, if you make promises and don't keep them, they're not going to help you. Right? So people will know that.
That's right. That's your personal brand.
That's right. That's your personal brand. Exactly. That's your personal brand. So character, and then I think resilience and the grit, they're important, but you build them as you go on this journey, right? Because failing and starting again, don't give up.
Sure. It's one life, right?
Yeah. You said to me the other day, failure is often success got many parents.
Yes, that's right.
I'm thinking about it. It doesn't really matter. You fail, you keep going.
Yep.
Success would come through as a result of you learning from those failures. I think again last time when we talked about, you also said fear of failure stops people with good ideas from.
That's right.
And doing things.
Yeah, it's a better idea just to start knowing that you've got it wrong in the first place, but you just need to keep tinkering with it until it works.
That's right. Yeah.
So, my friend, thank you so much. That was excellent. I think, if I may be so bold as to say, I think the mother that you devoured is looking down on you very proudly. Thank you for the open and honest way that you told your story. I hope that's inspired at least one person out there to do something for themselves. And all the best with the future. I'm going to get you back in a year or so. We'll see how things are going. And thank you again.
Absolutely, Peter. Thank you so much for having me. As you said, if we can inspire one person, our job is done.
Yep. Fantastic.
Absolutely thrilled. I'll be back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.